Good day, everyone. We continue with our series on lies in the textbooks, and we'll tell you a little more about Flies and Haeckel's proven fraud. Just make sure that you watch the previous videos in this series as they follow on each other. Please subscribe, like, and share these videos as much as possible. In science, people often make great observations, only to make totally wrong conclusions about what they just observed. Let me try to explain by way of a story. A bunch of scientists came together one day to see how far a frog could jump. So they got a frog, put it on the floor and said, "Jump, frog, jump!" The frog jumped a total of 80 inches. Then they decided to remove its legs one by one to see how far it would jump. So they removed one of its legs, placed it on the ground and said, "Jump, frog, jump!" This time it reached 70 inches. Again they brought it back, removed another leg and said, "Jump, frog, jump!" Now it only reached 60 inches. They removed another leg and said, "Jump, frog, jump!" And one-legged frog now jumped only 50 inches. They removed the last leg and said, "Jump, frog, jump!" They expected it to go at least 40 inches based on the data. But it did 0. The scientists were baffled. They cried harder to make it jump, but nothing happened. They even repeated the experiment, obviously using a new frog, but the results were the same. So they released their paper in the end, and it said, "We observed that the frog jumps shorter and shorter distances as its legs are removed." Okay, give them credit for a great observation. Then they said, "Therefore, we conclude that a frog with no legs goes deaf." Great observation, but you blew it with a conclusion. Although this may be a funny story, it is exactly what they did to fruit flies. They took some fruit flies in a laboratory and nuked them, microwaved them, x-rayed them, and did all sorts of mean things to those flies. So they produced all sorts of mutated flies. They got flies with curled wings that can only fly around in small circles. They got flies with no wings. By the way, what would you call that? You can probably call it a walk. The observation was that all the mutated flies produced was inferior to the original fly. That's a great observation. Then they said, "Therefore, we must conclude that the fruit fly has evolved as far as it could." Yes, boys and girls, jump, frog, jump. Maybe they could have concluded that God made the fruit fly perfect to begin with, and that all they did was to mess them up in the laboratory. This guy says, flies in the north have wings 4% larger than flies in the south. And they call that evolution? Who's dumb enough to care? In this textbook, they tell the kids to think critically. Yes, boys and girls, do you think humans are still evolving? What kind of question is that? It's like asking someone, have you stopped beating your wife yet? If he says yes, he's admitting that he did beat his wife. If he says no, it means he's still beating his wife. Would you agree that these kinds of questions have built-in assumptions? See, their question to the kids assume that evolution happened. I would say, teacher, this question is poorly written. It assumes that evolution has happened when it has not. It's like asking, why are elephants orange? Wow, that's a good question. Why are they orange? I don't know. And this question is not designed to make the kids think critically, okay? You think humans are still evolving? That's a Soviet-style indoctrination type question. They tell the kids they have evidence for evolution from structure. This is what they call the homology argument. Did you know you have two bones in your forearm called the radius and the ulna? And did you know the whale has two bones in its flipper, also called the radius and the ulna. There you go, see? This proves that humans and whales are related. Look at this textbook. These homologous structures provide evidence that these animals evolved from a common ancestor. Thinking critically, a seal's flipper and a human arm have very different functions. What evidence might help to show that both structures evolved from a forelimb of a common ancestor? This is in almost all of the biology books I've seen as evidence for evolution. They call it comparative anatomy. It says, comparative anatomy provides further evidence of evolution. Different kinds of organisms, such as birds, horse, or humans, share similar structures. The commonality suggests that these and other vertebrate animals are related. They probably evolved from a common ancestor that had the same basic limb structure. This is a lie. They probably have a common designer. There really are many textbooks around the world and they all teach the same thing. Here is one from Latvia. It really is silly. Those bones on the different animals developed from different genes. But the clever scientists cannot explain this, and they seldom discuss it. Did you know that the lug nuts on a Pontiac will fit on a Chevy? That must prove that they both evolved from a Honda 15 million years ago. The following lie makes me hot under the collar, and you will see why a little later. It is also one of the biggest reasons why abortion is legal today. They say that they have evidence for evolution from development. It says here, the similarity between early stages in the development of different animals helped convince Darwin that all forms of life shared common ancestors. Darwin considered this by far the strongest single class of facts in favor of his theory. Haeckel called it the biogenetic law. A guy named Ernst Haeckel made up the idea that all the embryos of different animals developed through the same stages: fish, amphibian, reptile, and mammal. This textbook says the presence of these fish-like structures in embryos of different species shows that these animals have evolved from fish and share a basic pattern of fish development. Does the human embryo have gills like a fish? That's what the textbook says. This is a big fat lie. Those lines are not gills. Those little folds of skin develop into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. Some people have 4 or 5 chins, and I never saw that they can breathe through any of them, okay? Ernst Haeckel, the German professor from Jena University, made up this entire dumb idea in 1869. Darwin's book came out in 1959. The following years, it was translated into German. Haeckel read it and said, "Wow, what a theory! If only we had some evidence." 9 years later, they still had no evidence, so Haeckel decided to make some. He was an embryology professor, so he took a drawing of a dog and a human embryo and changed them to make them look just alike. He said, "See, this proves we have a common ancestor with dogs." Well, nobody caught on or found him out, so he did a bunch more. He made drawings of all kinds of animals in the embryos and made them all look kind of similar. He made posters of this fake drawings and traveled all over Germany and told everybody, "You ought to believe in this theory because we have the proof right here." Haeckel just about single-handedly converted the Germans to believe in evolution. This led to the obvious conclusion that maybe one race evolved to be superior to the rest. But I'll cover that in another series. Above the line is Haeckel's drawings. Below the line is actual images of the same creatures at the same stage of development as his drawings suggest. You see how different they are? Haeckel lied deliberately. His own university held a trial and convicted him in 1875. He said, "I should feel utterly condemned were it not that hundreds of the best observers and biologists lie under the same charge. So, because everybody else lies, it's okay for you to do it too." This embryo fakery, called the biogenetic law, has been proven false and a lie in 1875. Yet, it is still taught to this day as one of the best evidences for the evolution theory. Wherever you are in the world watching this, I dare you to go out and look at your country's biology textbooks for schools and colleges. I guarantee that you will almost always find this garbage in there somewhere. I know it takes long to fix mistakes in such books, but 145 years is just ridiculous. Unfortunately, this is all we have time for today. Please like, subscribe, and share this video as much as possible. It'll help my channel grow. We have a Skype Bible study session at 6 p.m. South African Standard Time every Sunday night. If you are interested to join, please pop me an email. You can find mine in the description. Don't forget to leave a donation. Instructions on how to do so will follow. Thanks again, and God bless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy our videos, please leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified of our next video. You can help us create better videos by leaving a donation on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you. We hope to see you next time.